I still remember the first time I saw her after all those years apart. Anna walked into the cafe where I worked, her presence impossible to ignore, like the sudden warmth of the sun breaking through a cloudy sky. She had always been magnetic, long dark hair, soft brown eyes that carried both mystery and tenderness, and a smile that could melt even the hardest defenses. When our eyes met, something in me trembled, something I thought I had buried long ago. We used to be inseparable in college, sharing stolen kisses behind locked dorm doors, whispering our dreams late into the night. But life had pulled us apart. She went her way, I went mine. I tried to convince myself that what we had was a phase, an experiment, but deep down I knew it was more. It was love, the kind that left scars when it was gone. "Emma," she said softly, her voice carrying that same sweet lilt I remembered. "It's been too long." I forced a smile, my heart thundering in my chest. "Anna. Wow, you look incredible." We sat, ordered coffee, and fell into conversation as though no time had passed. She told me about her life, her new job, the man she was with. My throat tightened when she mentioned him, but then she lowered her eyes, almost ashamed, and whispered, "I'm pregnant." The words hung in the air like a weight pressing down on me. Pregnant. By him. I should have congratulated her. I should have smiled and wished her well. Instead, I searched her face, and what I found wasn't joy, it was conflict. Her hands trembled as she stirred her coffee, her lips parted as if she wanted to say something more but couldn't. Finally, she whispered, "I needed to see you, Emma. Because no matter what's happening in my life, I can't stop thinking about you." My breath caught. The cafe around us faded into nothing, and all I could hear was my own pulse pounding in my ears. She was pregnant by him, but she was still in love with me. The truth settled between us, dangerous and undeniable. I reached across the table, my fingers brushing hers. It was a touch that carried years of longing, regret, and unspoken desire. She didn't pull away. Instead, her eyes met mine with a fire I hadn't seen in so long, a fire that told me she still belonged to me, even if the world thought otherwise. In that moment, I knew one thing with absolute certainty: our story wasn't over. After that confession in the cafe, we couldn't just walk away. Anna lingered, as if she was afraid I'd disappear if she let me out of her sight again. She asked if we could go somewhere quieter, somewhere just for us. Against every rational thought screaming in my head, I said yes. We ended up at my apartment. The walk there was filled with silence, but it wasn't empty, it was heavy with tension, with every step echoing 1,000 unspoken words. When I unlocked my door and let her inside, it felt like I was stepping back in time, back to when we were 19 and fearless about nothing except being caught. Anna wandered through my space, running her fingers along the spines of books, the framed photos on my shelves. She stopped at a picture of me at the beach and smiled softly. "You haven't changed, Emma," she whispered. I laughed, though my chest ached. "That's a lie. We both have." She turned to me then, and the look in her eyes nearly broke me. Vulnerable, longing, filled with something that felt like desperation. "I tried, you know," she said. "To build a life. To love him. But it was never the same. He gives me security, but he doesn't set my soul on fire. You always did." The room was still, as if the world was holding its breath for us. I stepped closer, close enough to feel the warmth of her body, close enough to catch the faint scent of her perfume. My hand rose almost on its own, brushing a strand of hair from her face. She leaned into my touch, eyes fluttering shut. "Anna," I whispered, my voice trembling. This isn't fair to you. Or to me. Or him." "I know," she said quickly, opening her eyes. They were wet, shimmering with emotion. "But I can't stop. I can't stop wanting you. Even now. Especially now." And then she kissed me. It wasn't cautious, wasn't hesitant, it was hungry, desperate, years of repressed desire pouring out all at once. Her lips pressed to mine with urgency, and I kissed her back, my heart racing, my hands tangling in her hair. We stumbled together, laughter and moans mingling as we found our rhythm again, as if no time had passed. When we finally pulled apart, both of us breathless, she pressed her forehead to mine. "Tell me this is wrong," she begged. "Tell me and I'll stop." I couldn't. My body burned for her, my soul ached for her. Instead, I whispered the truth neither of us could deny. "It's wrong, Anna, but it's ours." And with that, the night stretched before us, filled with the dangerous promise of rediscovered love. The moment stretched between us like a fragile thread, thin, delicate, but impossible to break. Her kiss still lingered on my lips, and I could taste both guilt and desire, a mixture that made my whole body tremble. Anna's eyes searched mine, as if she needed permission to fall apart in my arms. Without another word, she leaned in again, softer this time. Her lips brushed mine gently, testing, savoring, as though she wanted to memorize the shape of me. I responded, slower now, my hand sliding to her waist, pulling her closer. Her body pressed against mine, warm and trembling, and the contact sent shivers racing through me. She sighed into my mouth, a sound I hadn't heard in years but recognized instantly, the sound she used to make when she was finally safe, finally at home in my embrace. My hands roamed up her back, feeling the curve of her spine, the rise of her shoulders. Her skin burned beneath her clothes, and I wanted more. God, I wanted all of her. "Emma," she whispered, breaking the kiss for just a second, her breath hot against my cheek. "I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't want this." "But you do," I murmured, my fingers tracing the outline of her jaw. "And so do I." Her lips crashed into mine again, this time with urgency. She pressed me back against the couch, her hands gripping my shirt, pulling, desperate. I felt her need, raw and unfiltered, the kind of hunger that no man had ever satisfied for her. When my hand slid beneath her blouse, brushing the soft skin of her stomach, she gasped, a sharp sound that made my whole body ache. Her fingers tangled in my hair, pulling me closer, anchoring herself in me as if she was terrified of letting go. For a heartbeat, I froze, my palm resting against her warm skin. My gaze drifted to her stomach, to the secret she carried there, the life that wasn't mine, but his. A sudden wave of guilt washed over me. She noticed it in my hesitation. Her hand covered mine, pressing it harder against her body. "Don't think about him," she whispered fiercely. "Think about us. About what we've always been." And with that, she kissed me again, deeper, slower, her tongue sliding against mine in a rhythm we had perfected long ago. The world outside didn't matter anymore. In that moment, it was just us, our bodies rediscovering each other, our hearts colliding again in reckless abandon. Every touch, every sigh, every kiss reminded me that no matter how complicated this was, no matter how dangerous, I couldn't resist her. She was mine, even if life had given her to someone else. And that night, for the first time in years, she let me claim her again. Her body melted into mine as though no years had passed, as though the world hadn't built walls between us. The heat of her skin under my fingertips made me dizzy, the softness of her lips against mine sent fire through my veins. We were teetering on a dangerous edge, and both of us knew it, but neither of us wanted to stop. Anna straddled my lap, her hair tumbling over her shoulders, brushing against my face. I remembered this posture, this closeness, the way she always liked to take control, the way she wanted to drown in me completely. My hands roamed her back, slipping beneath the thin fabric of her blouse until I could feel the curve of her bare skin. She shivered, pressing closer, her breath ragged. "God, Emma," she whispered against my mouth. "I've missed you. Every single day." I cupped her face, forcing her to look at me. "Say it again." Her eyes glistened as she whispered, "I've missed you. I've missed us." That was all it took. I kissed her hungrily, tilting her head so I could deepen the kiss, our tongues dancing in wild rhythm. Her hips rocked against mine, an involuntary movement that drew a moan from both of us. The sound filled the room, raw and intoxicating. My fingers traced the swell of her breasts through her bra, and she arched into my touch, gasping. Her hands tugged at the hem of my shirt, desperate to strip away the barriers between us. Clothes fell in careless movements, scattered across the couch, the floor, wherever they landed. It wasn't about neatness, it was about urgency, about years of desire finally unleashed. When her bare skin pressed against mine, I nearly lost myself. The warmth of her chest against mine, the thrum of her heartbeat echoing in my own body, it was overwhelming, intoxicating. I kissed down her neck, tasting the sweetness of her skin, leaving a trail of fire with every touch of my lips. Emma, her voice cracked, her nails digging lightly into my shoulders. Please, don't stop. I didn't. My hands and mouth explored her with reverence, with hunger, with the desperate devotion of a woman reclaiming what had always been hers. She writhed beneath me, her body arching and trembling, every sigh and gasp sending shivers straight through my core. For one fleeting moment, guilt flickered in her eyes, guilt for him, for the secret growing inside her. But I silenced it with a kiss, deep and consuming, whispering against her lips, right now, it's just us. No one else. And she surrendered. Completely. That night, we crossed a line we could never uncross. But as she clung to me, her body trembling with release, I realized something terrifying yet undeniable. Anna might be carrying his child, but her heart, her passion, her love, they all still belonged to me. And I wasn't ready to let her go again. The sunlight crept through the curtains, soft golden beams spilling across the tangled sheets. I woke first, my body sore but satisfied, my heart pounding with the memory of the night before. Anna lay beside me, her dark hair fanned across the pillow, her lips slightly parted, her breathing steady. She looked peaceful, like the girl I once knew, before life complicated everything. For a moment, I allowed myself to simply watch her, to pretend she was mine again in every sense. I traced the outline of her face with my eyes, memorizing her as if she might vanish when I blinked. But then reality returned, crashing into me like cold water. She wasn't mine. She belonged to another life, another man, and soon, another child. Still, when her eyes fluttered open and met mine, all those thoughts melted. She smiled, soft and sleepy, and whispered, "Morning." I kissed her forehead, unable to resist. "Morning, love." Her smile faltered, just a little, as the word lingered between us. Love. It was what we had always been, even when we denied it. She sat up slowly, pulling the sheet around her body, her hand instinctively resting on her stomach. My eyes followed the movement, and my chest tightened. "Emma," she began, her voice quiet, almost broken. "Last night, it was everything I've been craving. Everything I've missed. But—" "There's always a but," I interrupted softly, though I reached for her hand. "Anna, don't regret it. Please. Not this." Tears filled her eyes, shimmering as she looked at me. "I don't regret it. God, no. But I'm terrified. Terrified of what it means. For him. For this baby. For us." I squeezed her hand, forcing her to face me. "Then be honest, with yourself, with him, with me. What do you want, Anna? Not what's safe. Not what's expected. What do you want?" She shook her head, tears slipping down her cheeks. "I want you. I've always wanted you. But I don't know how to have you without destroying everything else." Her words pierced me, equal parts joy and agony. She wanted me, but at what cost? I pulled her into my arms, holding her tightly as she cried against my shoulder. My hand smoothed over her back, steady and patient. "Then we'll figure it out," I whispered. "Together. One step at a time." For the rest of the morning, we stayed wrapped in each other, ignoring the outside world. We laughed softly, kissed lazily, and clung to the illusion that nothing else existed. But beneath it all, the truth pulsed like a warning: this love, as beautiful as it was, carried consequences we couldn't avoid forever. And sooner or later, reality would knock on the door. The days after that night were a blur of stolen hours and secret touches. Anna kept coming back, as if she couldn't help herself. Sometimes it was for coffee after work, sometimes late at night when she said she needed to breathe. Every time, we ended up in each other's arms, our bodies speaking the truth our lips were too afraid to say aloud. But with every kiss, the weight of reality pressed harder. She was still living with him, still carrying his child. And though I wanted to be selfish, to claim her completely, I knew the day would come when she'd have to choose. One evening, she arrived at my door looking pale and nervous. Her hands shook as I let her inside, and I knew before she spoke that something had shifted. "Emma," she whispered, pacing the length of my small living room. "I can't keep doing this, lying to him, lying to myself. He deserves to know. And I can't keep pretending that what I feel for you is something I can just bury." My heart thudded. This was it, the moment I had wanted and dreaded all at once. "Are you saying you're going to tell him?" She stopped pacing, meeting my eyes with trembling resolve. "I have to. He deserves the truth. And so do you." I swallowed hard, emotions tangling inside me. Relief, fear, hope, dread, it all crashed together in a storm. "And what truth is that, Anna?" She came closer, cupping my face in her hands. "That I love you. That I never stopped loving you. That even with his child inside me, my heart is yours." Her words shattered something inside me, shattered the walls I'd been holding up for so long. I kissed her, slow and deep, tears burning my eyes. "Then say it to him," I whispered against her lips. "Don't hide. Don't make this another secret we regret." She nodded, though I could see the fear trembling in her. "He'll hate me. He'll hate me for loving you more than I ever loved him." "Maybe," I said softly. "But at least you'll be free." That night, we made love again, but it was different, softer, slower, filled with a tenderness that felt like goodbye and beginning all at once. She clung to me, whispering promises into my skin, her body trembling with both fear and desire. As she lay against me afterward, her hand resting protectively on her stomach, she whispered, "I don't know how he'll take it. But I can't keep living a lie." I kissed her forehead, holding her close. "Then don't. Whatever happens, we'll face it together." But even as I said it, a knot of dread twisted in my stomach. Because confessions have consequences, and love, no matter how true, always demands a price. The night Anna told him was the longest night of my life. She didn't let me come with her, she said it was something she had to face on her own. I understood, but every minute she was gone gnawed at me, every tick of the clock pulling me further into a spiral of dread. When she finally showed up at my door, her face was pale, streaked with tears, her hands trembling. My heart dropped. "Anna," I whispered, pulling her inside. "What happened?" She collapsed against me, her body shaking as sobs racked through her. I held her tight, stroking her hair, waiting until she could speak. "I told him," she finally choked out. "I told him everything, that I love you, that I've been seeing you, that my heart never belonged to him." I swallowed hard. "And?" Her eyes lifted to mine, brimming with pain. "He was furious. Shattered. He shouted, he begged, he called me selfish. And then, he told me I had to choose. Him and the family we were supposed to build, or you." The weight of her words pressed on my chest like stone. "And what did you say?" She shook her head, her tears spilling over. I couldn't answer. I froze. He stormed out. "I don't know where he is now." I pulled her closer, my own heart breaking. "Anna, you don't have to choose tonight. You've been carrying this burden alone for so long. Just breathe. Just stay here with me." Her lips found mine in a desperate kiss, tasting of salt and sorrow. She clung to me as though I were her anchor, her only safe place left in the world. And I held her back, even though my mind was screaming about the chaos her confession had unleashed. Later, as we lay together in the silence of my room, she whispered into the darkness, "What if I lose everything? What if he takes the baby away from me?" My chest tightened. I kissed her temple, murmuring, "You won't lose everything. You still have me. You'll always have me." Her hand gripped mine, squeezing it like a lifeline. Promise me you won't let me fall apart. I promise, I whispered, though I knew the road ahead would test us both in ways we couldn't yet imagine. Because love isn't just kisses and whispered confessions, it's war. And Anna's confession had started one we weren't sure we could win. In the final part of our story, emotions run deeper than ever before. She's pregnant by him, yet her heart beats only for me. This isn't just a love triangle, it's a collision of choices, sacrifices, and truths that can no longer be hidden. The weight of her secret pressed on both of us, but when her tears fell and her voice trembled as she said, "I can't lose you again," I knew everything had changed. Love doesn't wait for perfect timing, it arrives messy, complicated, and raw, demanding to be felt no matter the cost. Yes, she carries his child, but her laughter, her touch, and her every stolen glance remind me that her soul belongs to me. Together, we face the whispers, the judgment, and the uncertainty of tomorrow, because what we share is worth every storm. This final chapter isn't about endings, it's about courage, about choosing love even when the world tells you it's impossible. She may be pregnant by him, but she's still in love with me. And sometimes, love like this is the only truth that matters.